Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. And today we have some very important news that needs to be discussed. Bitcoin bulls aim for $25,000 price on tomorrow's, Friday's, 510 million options expiry. There's a little bit more though. Bitcoin miners now hold 1.85, let's say 1.9 million Bitcoin in a 2-year high. Very interesting. Inflation punishes the prudent, while Bitcoin gives future hope, by Jordan Peterson, one of you guys' idols it is clearly showcased. And we have a ton more crypto news to cover right here. Take a look at this, for example. The stable coins, what are people doing with those? Are they holding them? Does that mean a rally is coming? Or does that mean that they don't believe in the rally? And there's also a Deloitte survey that clearly shows crypto is the next big thing. And we have way more, I think, to cover in this video. So if you guys are enjoying these things, the videos at least, make sure you press that like button. I want to try to get to 400 likes, and I think it should easily be possible if you guys all help out. Having said that, let's start out with this article right here. Bitcoin is turning into a global collateral as experts spot the increasing correlation with commodities. I've described before what is going to drastically increase the Bitcoin price. As I described to you guys, I think it's the moment that people start to realize Bitcoin is not just a fad that's meant to make you some quick little dollars or so, even though this article actually talks about it differently. According to Bloomberg Intelligence most recent analysis of the crypto market, Bitcoin may begin to act more like gold and US Treasury bonds than stocks. The research team compared the Bitcoin market to those of gold, bonds, and oil in its August Crypto Outlook study, which was written by senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone and senior market structure analyst Jamie Kutz. Quote, "We think more of the same is ahead, particularly as it may be transitioning towards global collateral, with results more aligned with treasury bonds or gold," end quote. Additionally, they noted that the pump following dump nature of commodities and declining bond yields point to a higher likelihood that bonds, gold, and Bitcoin will gain value as inflation declines. And actually, to that one, I have an interesting one. We talked just now about the Jordan Peterson, right? Inflation punishes the prudent, while Bitcoin gives future hope. Author and psychologist Jordan Peterson said that hyperinflation hurts those who are the pillars of society. It's actually written in a really interesting manner right here. The ability to save up is an essential tool for self-regulation and planning for the future. But when inflation becomes uncontrollable, those who put in their efforts to delay gratification get punished for their choice. Even though, logically speaking, there's actually a very important economical explanation for the opposite. Normally, in a really good economy, when things are doing well, you guys know market cycles, right? If things are doing well, people spend right now instead of in the future, meaning, okay, more money is being spent, which means most likely more production has to be done as well. More jobs are going to be given away. Your economy does better and better and better. GDP increases. Things are nice. Theoretically speaking, right? If you want to get people to, delay their gratification, you increase the interest rate so people save and people expand less. Companies expand less because the cost of borrowing capital becomes a lot more expensive. Now, if there's a massive amount of inflation, though, which is usually the consequence of, for example, increasing the interest rate, normally it's, wait. No, sorry guys. If there's a massive amount of delayed gratification, which is because of the increase in interest rate, there we go, which is to prevent a lot of the inflation, well, it just depends on how the factors are coming into play. Because to make sure that the delayed gratification is always worth it, the interest rate needs to be so good that the inflation doesn't eat into your money completely. Otherwise, they're still more inclined to spend it now than later. But that's like the little annoying cycle of, okay, so how bad do you want to increase the interest rate with to combat inflation enough, but you don't go into a recession where nobody's spending their money anymore, and yada, yada, yada. But he says, on the other hand, Bitcoin does the opposite, according to the clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson. And there's something to be said about that, right? If you hold crypto for longer periods of time, you're mostly rewarded, at least history has shown. And with the dollar, you just know for certain that over the next 10 years, it's only going to decrease in value, realistically speaking, right? With crypto, there's a good chance you'll have 100 times your value in a couple of years from now. Now, it's interesting what these miners are doing in that front. Miners go from sellers to holders again, as the worst of June's capitulation phase seems to pass. Bitcoin miners now hold 1.9 million Bitcoin in 2-year high. Bitcoin miners now own more Bitcoin than any time since 2020 as the impact of the past month's turbulence wears off. According to data from on-chain analytics firm CryptoQuant, miners' Bitcoin holdings increased dramatically in July. And this means the miners are stacking Satoshis, the miners are getting more excited, and they're not selling as much as is coming in because they think things are quote unquote bad. They expect things to get better over the short term. This is in a direct contrast to the different article that I had just now for you guys, which is right here. Big stablecoin holders do not believe in this rally and stick to this strategy of just holding stablecoin. So we can actually see as well here, sentiment posted. Tether and USDC shark addresses have been accumulating coins as crypto prices have risen. This accumulation indicates a disbelief in the rally and a reluctance to buy in right now, also known as wall of worry. Read our short take about stablecoins right here. And you can see there's a Tether and USD coin. Shark addresses have been showing strong accumulation during the 5-week price rise. And it reads right here, USDC $10,000 to $100,000 addresses have accumulated consistently since mid-May. And USDT 10,000 to 100,000 addresses have been accumulating since mid-July as well, which are respectively the red and the yellow line. And we can see over on the right exactly the percentage. But yeah, that's interesting to kind of think about, that they're increasing in terms of hodlers. Can we extrapolate anything from this? Logically, not necessarily. As you can see here, the price in this section, right, over in the beginning of, April, or not, end of April, the prices went down and the amount of people holding stable coins increases, which theoretically speaking should decrease as, they're selling, and then at some point they switch over. But it basically increased until some point where Bitcoin laid flat for a little while, and this stablecoin reserve started to increase piece by piece for USDC. For USDT, it kind of decreased though, which is kind of interesting, I guess, because USDT and USDC have such an inverse correlation that it's kind of hard to, extrapolate anything from this, as they do exactly the opposite. As I guess there was a lot of Tether FUD and people switched their Tether over into USDC, and right now it's just, both of those are going rampant. I guess it's kind of all being placed piece by piece into the bigger puzzle of things. I had a couple of articles that I guess had surrounding this regarding CBDCs. You can see this one for just an example. CBDC could be holy grail of cross-border payments, ECB says. Sees Bitcoin as less credible. And I immediately think of XRP, right, as like a little fix to this problem or an intermediary of sorts. Whenever I read this, I instantly think of XRP because that's, the cross-border crypto payment. No, the cross-border payment crypto. You can't really go around it. CBDCs are good. Don't get it wrong. For governments, for the people, not so much. And XRP helps a lot in that system. Then again, it could also still be used in a CBDC central system. So it's not the biggest of worries of mine or anything like that. But let's get back. Deloitte's survey clearly shows crypto payments are the next big thing in commerce. Around 2/3 of our surveyed merchants indicated that their customers have significant interest in using digital currencies for payments. And you got to realize for yourself, right? These cross-border payments we keep talking about. From a higher perspective, a level, let's do a couple of level ups. CBDCs are very useful from bank to bank, central bank to a bank, or bank to foreign bank, for example, sure. But if we're literally talking peer-to-peer, usually you're not going to be involved with a CBDC whatsoever, depending on what country or region we're talking about. Some CBDCs want to be retail focused, just make sure you and I are always handling and doing the CBDC. Some want to have it at more of an upper level, so to speak. And depending on what exactly comes out, as all these countries are doing research right now, you're going to also notice or not notice that it even exists. It could also just be portrayed in the background, where you as a retail individual never notice that it even exists. It's in the fundamentals though. In the same sense that many people don't even understand a messaging system like Swift. They're like, what is that supposed to be? My bank just sends to the other bank. How? Or how does that work? No, I don't need to know. How do payments work? Well, I don't need to know that. I guess you kind of don't to live your life normally. I digress. So what we're reading here, though, is another, part of the story where all these merchants know there's a lot of customers who want to utilize crypto for payments. If I go to a store, let's say as an example right now, if we go to Louis Vuitton right now, no, let's do a different one. If I want to buy a car, I want to buy a Bugatti, what color should I go for? But I want to buy a Bugatti. It's going to be a lot more difficult for me to get it in cash than in crypto. If you guys understand my drift, I'd rather pay in crypto if that's an option. In Dubai, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter if you can almost always pay with crypto anyway. Like Carl, he bought his Bugatti with Ethereum, I believe. It doesn't matter to them. These guys are like, money is money. I'll transfer it over. Doesn't matter. I guess maybe because capital gains and such are pretty easy where it's not really any of your troubles. Why can you not accept crypto if you could just instantly, the moment they send it to you, switch it over to dollars or euros anyway if you wanted to? I guess the only exception I can make is if you're doing a $400 million deal. and maybe you think there's too much fluctuation in price. You know, for example, if it's Bitcoin and all of a sudden you need like 6 hours to confirm something, and within that 6-hour time frame, the money has dropped by, $4 million. Yeah, I understand that, okay? Or maybe 10% before you can actually transfer it over, okay? But in most scenarios, specifically with these merchants, it's not the case. And there's a lot of programs to fix that as well. These are staggering numbers, though, if you think about it. Considering the majority of people don't even know what a stablecoin is, if merchants are perceiving this tendency, chances are it does exist. 83% of expect consumer interest in digital currencies for payments to increase or significantly increase over the next 12 months. We agree wholeheartedly, says Deloitte. And more than 85% of the organizations are given high or very high priority to enabling crypto payments, or roughly 83% are doing the same for stablecoins, and around 85% of surveyed merchants expect that digital currency payments will be ubiquitous among suppliers in their industry in 5 years. Nearly 3/4 of those surveyed reported plans to accept either crypto or stablecoin payments within the next 24 months. Let me tell you guys one thing. If you think XRP, for example, can't go to this or that price, if you think Bitcoin can't go to this or that price, you think that this crypto can't go to this or that price, I personally think you should rethink your morals and everything. You don't know just how little known crypto really is at this point. And fun fact, my family even has stopped. Now, okay, not my family, because my friends, I guess, a lot of them have stopped talking about crypto as much as before. When I used to go to a little meeting, for example, I'm talking like a little, how do you say, get together? They'd be like, oh, have you seen this Bitcoin thing? It's silent, completely silent. And that's showcasing something. The interest is low again, yet the space is just developing. Within a couple of years, I guarantee this to you, you will not recognize how far crypto has come. In terms of price, I cannot make any guarantees, but in terms of how far the space has come, within 5 years from now, it will not be the same. Specifically, if you look 10 years into the future, is it easy to think of 1,000 times gains in 10 years? No. Is it possible? Sure. Really, people need to redefine this wealth idea, or this global wealth idea, or this fact that, oh, but market cap this or market cap that. Market cap is the value times the price. Right? Oh, sorry, guys. The amount of coins currently outstanding times the price. To be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's like, okay, if we, as an example, all decide that we are never going to let XRP slide below $1 billion anymore, we could. Theoretically speaking, now a single one of us, you can always bring up this argument like, oh, but somebody needs to pay it, right? Yeah, kinda, with everything. And I guess there's not enough wealth to pay for it at that point because money needs to be created, right? But that's how these things become sort of funny, because where exactly does that money come from, right? At the end of the day, it's all the printing that you are not clearly realizing, I guess. Because think about it like this. Let's say, for example, we are holding $80 trillion in XRP. Who can actually buy it, right? Well, the price needs to come down for people to actually be able to buy it because, well, not enough people have $1 billion to buy it per coin, for example. But then if you look at how much money there's in the circulation right now, well, let's say, a couple hundred years, a couple centuries ago, that wouldn't have been possible to buy either. So how exactly does that increase? In that sense, with this newer technology, with this completely new system, it's the same thing as an industrial revolution, for example. People before it happened couldn't fathom how much anything would increase until it happened and how much things would develop. With this blockchain technology as well, I just don't think people can fathom how much things will change over the next decade or so as this technology comes in, and how much that will increase wealth and whatnot. But hey, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button, subscribe. And this expiry, by the way, Bitcoin has been gaining momentum as it nears 24,000. As I said to you guys before, I don't think it really makes a lot of difference. These expiries, I've covered them a dozen times before. I've covered them on Twitter. Nobody seems to be really interested in it, to be honest with you. Bulls might pocket a $200 million profit. Why? Well, check it out right here. It's about the calls and the puts. If it goes between $25,000 and $26,000, 0 calls, 7,900 puts, bulls extend their gains to $200 million. It's usually the higher things go, the better the bulls are in terms of a position. You can see here the different prices versus the different results, I guess. So, yeah. That was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I'll definitely see you guys again in another crypto video later today.